Hello everyone, welcome to the first video in our C# beginners tutorial series. This video I'm going to be helping you set up and talking a little bit more about what's going to happen through this series of videos. For anyone out there who already has Visual Studio set up, it doesn't have to be 2017 with everything needed for C#.NET development, and you're not interested in hearing what I've got to say about the series as a whole, you can skip to the next video. That's totally fine. Right, so the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to go to www.visualstudio.com/downloads to download a piece of software that's going to let you write some code. You can also get to here by typing in Visual Studio downloads into Google. It's pretty easy to find. And what you're going to need to do is download the Visual Studio Community 2017. So if you hit free download, that should start automatically. So what this is a tool created by Microsoft to allow programmers to write code. It has lots of stuff in there that makes the process a lot simpler, easier, and helps you find problems. So it's a really cool thing to do, and for the C# development it's really useful. So we're just going to open that. Now I've already got this installed, so things might look a little bit different, but I don't think they'll look massively different. So all of this will run, you just need to keep clicking through, and eventually you should get a page that looks like this. And this is where you can select what you want the installer to install. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of variety here. We can start at the top and you can see a tab for .NET desktop development. And, oops, sorry, I've just kicked off another one. Sorry about that. Here you can see .NET desktop development, and within it you can see C#. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that this is selected by clicking on it. And if scrolling down there's anything else that takes your fancy, anything like, for example, Unity, I've also got C++ installed, install that as well, but absolutely make sure that you have the .NET desktop development selected. Then in the bottom right corner there will be a button called probably install rather than modify. So if you hit that, the installer will start downloading and installing everything you need to make this work. Now, spoiler alert, it's going to take some time, especially if you've selected more than one thing. So I would recommend you go and grab a cup of coffee or something and come back in about 15 minutes. Keep your eye on it, but it's not going to be an instant install. And so after that has finished installing, you need to go to your computer and you need to find Visual Studio 2017. So for me, it's up here, but you can find it by searching, and you want to run that. So just to prove to you that everything is as it should be. So if you're watching this and you're unsure whether to continue, allow me to provide you with some reasons why C# is a really good language to learn. It's a language that has sort of come into its own very recently because Microsoft have put a lot of work into it. So it is a language created by Microsoft. So it is originally primarily targeted at Windows machines, but now people have got cross-platform stuff. So that's one thing. If people tell you that it's for Windows only, that's not true. You can do cross-platform stuff with C#. You can do Android apps with C#. You can do games with C#. You can either use Unity, which has C# as their scripting language, or you can use game frameworks out there like Monogame. Now I'm contemplating doing something about Monogame and Unity in another series, so it's a language that's really useful nowadays. It's present in all different kind of programming industries. So if you're thinking of doing a hobby project or maybe even considering it as a job, it's a really good one to learn. So Visual Studio is booted, and just so you can check whether you've done everything correctly, if you go to File, New, and then hit Project, and wait for this to load. On the right hand side you should see a tab for Visual C#, and if you click on that you should have a whole array of things, but just make sure you have the console app and the class library installed. Those are the two most important ones that we're going to need. So if you have those two things, you're set up, you're ready to go. And if you don't want to hear me rambling on about the rest of the series, feel free to go on to the next video. That's absolutely fine. So I've kind of given you some reasons why you might want to learn C#. It's a really elegant language. It's used in a lot of things nowadays. Many different areas of technology, banking, games, lots of tool software uses C#. So you may also be wondering, why should I bother continuing to listen to this guy? That's another really good question. So to try and convince you to continuing to listen to my videos, I'll just give you a little bit of a background about me. So I am a programmer who's sort of learnt in a similar way to how I'm imagining you're learning right now, which is off of YouTube videos and tutorials online. And it was tough, but I found there were certain YouTube videos that were really good for helping me learn. YouTube tutorials where you work through concepts and then also you build something using them, I found the most useful. Along the way, I found I got stuck in a lot of places, and I found how to get over those humps eventually. So I'd like to say I have a good idea of where you might get stuck with understanding, or you might get stuck with actually doing something, or anything like that. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to sort of make those humps slightly easier for you along the way. And I'd like to say that now I have a fairly good understanding of programming. I'm looking to do other tutorials on things like gaming, because that's what I do as a job. I work for a games company. So yeah, if you think that this is going to be useful, we're going to do a couple of videos about explaining what this software is and how to get started with a coding project, because it's a tricky thing. It's difficult, and there's things you need to do to set up. So we'll walk through that really easily. We'll do a few introductory concepts, and then we'll start putting them to use. And I think we're going to build something like a calculator or something simple that you can show off to people, and we'll keep improving and improving the calculator using new concepts that we learn in a video, and we'll apply that to a real life project. So you can kind of see how you use these theoretical concepts that seem really abstract in an actual real world project, how you actually apply them. So if you think that sounds good, then I'd love it if you continued watching. If you are not sure this is the right place for you, then by all means, there's plenty of other really good videos out there on YouTube. They're probably a dime a dozen. If you're interested in learning other things as well, I am planning on doing C++ tutorials and game-related tutorials with Unity and Monogame. So keep an eye out for those as well if you're not necessarily interested in this video series. I'm also planning on doing some advanced C# tutorials after we finish this one too, so you'll be able to hit the ground running with those advanced ones if you work through all of these. But by all means, you should be able to go into them having learnt from somewhere else. It's just going to require a bit of kind of prior knowledge about C#. So I think that's all for this video. I don't think there's anything else really for me to say. You should be all set up there. It's pretty painless. It was just a long time, and I'm really hoping that you'll watch the next video. But like I said, if this isn't for you, that's totally fine. So I think next video we're gonna make a project. We're gonna have something visual that you can run, and we'll start kind of explaining the nuts and bolts and kind of how it all pieces together. Maybe write some code and get some stuff happening. It should be really exciting. So I'm really hoping you can join me then. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Okay, thanks for watching.